Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive deep into something pretty huge in the server world, the brand new storage features in Windows Server 2025. Seriously, this stuff could completely change the game for how we manage our data. All right, let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar? You've got blazing fast CPUs, tons of RAM, but your whole system just feels slow. Chances are, your storage is the bottleneck holding everything back. It's a massive headache for IT pros everywhere, and that's exactly what we're tackling today. So for the longest time, we all relied on traditional hardware RAID, right? And look, it worked, but man, was it rigid. You were locked into specific hardware, it was complex to manage, and scaling up, that was a nightmare for the budget. But now we're in the era of software-defined storage, which is all about being flexible, working with whatever hardware you've got, and scaling out whenever you need to. It's a whole different world. And that's the perfect lead-in to the star of our show today, the completely revamped storage spaces in Windows Server 2025. This is Microsoft's big, software-defined answer to all those storage headaches. So what exactly are storage spaces? Let's break it down. Think of it like this. You're a master chef. All your physical drives, your HDDs, your SSDs, those are just your raw ingredients. Storage spaces lets you throw them all into one giant mixing bowl, creating what we call a storage pool. And from that pool, you can create whatever dish you want. Need a super fast volume for a database? Done. Need a massive archive for old files? Easy. It's all about that flexibility. Okay, let's get into the good stuff. First up, let's talk about solution number one, just blazing fast performance. And a huge part of that performance boost comes from this, enhanced optimization for NVMe drives. You know, NVMe is the fastest storage we've ever had, but for a long time, the software just couldn't keep up. It was like putting a rocket engine in a go-kart. Well, Windows Server 2025 is finally built to unleash the full power of that rocket. So here's what that actually means for you. First, it's optimized not just for local NVMe drives, but also for NVMe over fabrics, so you get that speed across your network. Second, you're going to see a massive jump in your IOPS, your input-output operations per second. That's the raw measure of speed. But maybe the most important part, it dramatically lowers the CPU overhead. Your server's brain doesn't have to work as hard just to manage storage, which means it has way more power left for your actual applications. And this chart really drives the point home. Just look at the difference. With traditional storage, your CPU could be spending a huge chunk of its time, up to 80% in some cases, just managing I/O. It's bogged down. But with the new optimizations in Server 2025 for NVMe-OF, look at that drop. We're talking maybe 20%. That is a ton of processing power you just got back for the things that actually matter. All right, speed is awesome, but it's not the whole story. Let's move on to solution number two. Maximum storage efficiency. This is all about getting more bang for your buck from the hardware you already own. And one of the biggest new features here is native ReFS deduplication and compression. So what does that mean? Right inside the file system itself, it's smart enough to find and get rid of duplicate data. Think about all those copies of VMs or backup files. This feature finds the common parts and only stores them once. It's a total game changer for your storage capacity. And the bottom line is right here. You can now store significantly more data on the exact same hardware. That translates directly into lower storage costs. Who doesn't want that? And that's not all. It also has features like thin provisioning, where you can promise storage you don't physically have yet, and dynamic pool expansion, which lets you add more drives to your pool on the fly without any downtime. It all adds up to a way more flexible and cost-effective setup. Okay, so we've got speed, we've got efficiency, but none of that matters if your data isn't safe, right? So that brings us to our third major solution, unbreakable resiliency. This is so cool. Check this out, adjustable repair speed. Imagine a drive fails in your array. In the old days, the system would just go full throttle trying to rebuild the data, crushing the performance for your users. Now, you're in control. During busy work hours, you can tell it to repair slowly, so your active workloads get top priority. Then, overnight, you can crank it up to high speed to get everything back to normal as fast as possible. You get to decide what's more important. And speaking of keeping things up and running, there's a brand new feature for high availability called the S2D Campus Cluster. This is especially awesome for anyone with multiple sites. And what it does is make site failover way easier. You basically just link your two physical sites together, you flip the switch to enable the S2D Campus Cluster feature, and boom, you've got automatic site failover.
If one entire location goes down, your services just keep on ticking from the other site. It's designed to be much less complex than the old school ways of doing this.
All right, let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. We've talked speed, efficiency, and resiliency. So, why does all this matter?
Well, the biggest takeaway is this. Storage Spaces and Windows Server 2025 is now a seriously robust, super flexible, and incredibly scalable alternative to that old, expensive, traditional hardware RAID. So let's just sum it all up. What do you get? You get control. The power is back in your hands as the admin. You get performance. You finally unlock the true mind-blowing potential of your NVMe drives. You get efficiency. You get to maximize every dollar you've invested in your hardware. And finally, you get resiliency. This is advanced, simpler, high availability to make sure you're always online. You know, when you see storage getting this smart, this intelligent, it really makes you think. It begs the question, is software the future of all infrastructure?